Well, hello and welcome to another fun-filled edition of Adam's Music Box, where today I want to remember and celebrate the legacy of Kelly Groucutt, who was the bass player and backing vocalist extraordinaire in that classic lineup of the Electric Light Orchestra. Now, ELO is sometimes thought of as a kind of faceless band where this sound, this unique sound, sort of was bigger than any one person. And I suppose it was bigger than any one person. But of course, the band's leader, the main songwriter and producer, Jeff Lynne, is sometimes seen as the Mr. ELO, where everyone else in the band was sort of a sideman, which isn't really true. This isn't to take away from Jeff Lynne's incredible talents, because he was one of the most unique writers and producers in all of music history. But when the band came together as a unit, and when the lineup, after fluctuating a bit in the early days, when it solidified around 74, 75, you really get a band where all of the musicians just complemented each other so very well. And it was on 1975's Face the Music where this classic lineup really solidified. So, of course, you've got Jeff, you've got Bevan, who had been there since the beginning on drums. You had Richard Tandy, who I did a video on last year, such an important part of the sound. And then you had Kelly, whose vocals and bass work really just brought it all together. Of course, you can't forget the string section, people like Mick Kaminsky, Hugh McDowell, Melvin Gale. And it was this classic lineup that tended to really define the sound across the band's most successful albums, including A New World Record, Out of the Blue, Discovery, Time, and of course the Xanadu soundtrack featuring Olivia Newton-John. Now, Kelly he had a great stage presence. At that time in the 70s and early 80s, similar hairstyle, sort of, to Jeff Lynne. And they almost, when you saw them on stage, seemed like co-leaders of the band. And just sort of to prove how much of the ELO sound was the band itself, Kelly put out a 1982 solo album simply called Kelly, and he had a few of his friends help him out. There was Richard Tandy playing keyboards, Bevan on the drums, Mick Kaminsky leading a string section, and lo and behold, it's basically ELO without Jeff Lynne. And there are some differences, but there are a lot more similarities. So you should really check that out. And in fact, I'm going to, because I do these live, I'm going to see if it is on your local streaming service. So just give me a second to do that while you entertain yourself by humming your favorite ELO song. I sure hope that it's on these streaming services. And yes, it is. The full album, Kelly, is on your Spotify's, your Apples, and everything else. So definitely check out that album. It isn't really thought about much, unfortunately, but if you like ELO, then you are going to like Kelly Groucutt's solo album. He unfortunately left us. He died many years ago in the early 2000s, but that's all the more reason to continue celebrating his musical legacy, and also the fact that he was a really nice guy to work with. He had a legal dispute with Jeff Lynne in the mid 80s, which he later regretted because, yeah, he was entitled to his royalties, but he never wanted it to break up a kind of camaraderie. Again, really, really nice guy and gone too soon. Like, subscribe, and as always, we'll see you next time. Take care.